as President Trump meets with Russian leader Vladimir Putin for a high-stakes summit back here in Minnesota. Congressman Tom Emmer is defending Trump's big, beautiful bill. Here, reaction from the Republican as a new report shows it will add trillions to the national debt. Plus, tricky travel ahead for the great Minnesota get-together. Why the Department of Transportation says you should start mapping out your route right now if you're looking to head to the Falcon Heights Fairgrounds next week. KIMD News 3 First at 4 starts right now. The shooting suspect accused of targeting Minnesota lawmakers is believed to have been planning more politically motivated attacks outside of the state. 57-year-old Vance Bolter is facing 2 counts of second-degree murder and 2 counts of second-degree attempted murder. That's according to the criminal complaint filed in Hennepin County Court. He's also facing 6 federal charges in connection to the shooting death of Democratic Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband in Brooklyn Park. Early Saturday morning, authorities say Bolter, disguised as a police officer, first drove up to Senator John Hoffman's house, where he shot and seriously wounded the lawmaker and his wife. After fleeing, surveillance video appears to show Bolter ringing the doorbell of another lawmaker's home, but nobody answered. An attack at a third politician's house was thwarted by a police officer conducting a safety check at the property. Shortly after, the suspect made his 4th stop at the Hortman's home in Brooklyn Park, where he allegedly killed the couple before escaping on foot and sparking a massive manhunt. The accused assassin may still be on the run if it weren't for a sharp-eyed neighbor who spotted the suspect in rural Green Isle.
As I was coming down the driveway, I said, "Dad, there's somebody in the front yard." I was turning my truck this way. I could see him clear as day, just squatting there. And I'm like, that's a person.
Now, this is Wendy Thomas. She alerted authorities when she saw a strange man ducked down by a culvert while leaving the driveway of a friend's house in Sibley County on Sunday. Thomas says she flagged down a sheriff's deputy on patrol who told her to take cover near Country Road 11. Law enforcement then closed in on this property owned by Kevin Efforts. Efforts says the suspect, Vance Bolter's house, is located about a mile down the road from his. While the neighbors knew one another, Efforts says Bolter never showed signs that would indicate he'd planned such a deadly and politically motivated attack.
I was pretty traumatized, and I had to go take a break with my brother and just let some tears out.
This is where he crunched down when Wendy drove out of my driveway. He never had any political views that we talked about. It was always about, the weather, what's going on, how's your family. A guy, you shake your hand with him and everything else, and then he does this.
The massive manhunt came to an end when Bolter surrendered to police, crawling out of the woods near his home. This is just southwest of Minneapolis. Minnesota lawmakers are considering tighter security measures now at state capitol buildings in reaction to these recent deadly targeted attacks. Earlier today, Senator Amy Klobuchar spoke about the assassinations of Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, and the attempted killings of Senator John Hoffman and his wife. You can see a makeshift memorial at the Capitol in St. Paul that's continuing to grow as lawmakers say they're now contemplating a previously unthinkable world where democratically elected representatives need full-time security details to protect them from the public.
And it was a horrific weekend, but we have jobs to do, and we all know that. And one of them is to engage in civil debate, not the horror show that we saw this weekend, but to actually debate consequential issues for the people of this country. And one of them is this bill.
On Sunday, Minnesota Democratic Senator Tina Smith also spoke out, saying, quote, "I don't want to think that I have to have a personal security detail everywhere I go, but I think we really have to look at this situation that we're in," end quote. Minneapolis police say a suspect is in custody for causing an estimated $20,000 worth of damage to Tesla vehicles just last month. It's part of a crime spree that investigators believe is in protest of Elon Musk. Surveillance video, which you can see right here, In another criminal case out of the Twin Cities, the suspect accused of damaging several Teslas in Minneapolis. We told you about this last week. Well, he's not facing charges, at least for now. County prosecutors say they'll instead pursue restitution for the victims. Thank you for watching KIMT News 3. I'm Jessica Bringe. Breaking news to start tonight. Not guilty of murder with intent, guilty of murder without intent. That's the decision of an Olmsted County jury in the murder trial of 20-year-old Isaac Gutierrez. He shot and killed Osbel Ornelius back in February. Jury members reached that verdict less than 20 minutes ago. KIMT News 3's Evan Berg has been live for us at the Olmsted County Courthouse as everything unfolds. Evan, there have been a lot of developments in the last half hour. Tell us what's happening right now. An update on early voting in Minnesota so far this election season. In the 4 weeks since it began, more than 337,000 absentee and mail-in ballots have been received by county workers. That's up compared to totals from the 2016 general election. Good afternoon and happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us for KIMT News 3 First at 4. I'm Jessica Bringe. We start in Iowa this afternoon, where a Cerro Gordo County judge is partially unsealing a search warrant tied to the 30-year-old missing persons case of Jody Husentrut. Starting, Cammie, with what you mentioned, it was Amy Coons, that producer, who first sounded the alarm, noticed, of course, Jody wasn't in for work, into this newsroom, this Mason City newsroom right here. And then when she failed to actually physically show up for her morning shift, very unlike Jody, according to Coons, that's when a welfare check took place. And Coons realized she may have been the last person to speak with Jody ever. Now, if we take a look back at the investigation, that started in 1995. Cammie, not at all. When I tell you it is packed, it is packed. So much so that vehicles are lining the streets. I'm a little ways out from the event as they get underway. Just heard a speaker take the mic. In fact, if I step behind the camera here, I can zoom in a bit and give you a closer look at just how many people have turned out for the Charlie Kirk Vigil event tonight. Rochester Fest has been a tradition for more than 4 decades, and this year is all about helping you live your dream. And nobody knows that theme better than the executive director of Rochester Fest, Stephen Rose, who is joining us live here on the grounds of Soldiers Field. The next time you feel like complaining about your fellow travelers while flying out of the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport, this pigeon inside a Delta plane may put the pain of those passengers into perspective.
A passenger come up to the flight attendant who was standing right by where I was, and she said, "I think there's a pigeon on this plane."
While birds of a feather may flock together, they usually don't fly commercial. However, 2 stowaway pigeons snuck onto a flight traveling to Madison, Wisconsin from MSP Sunday night. The first one was quickly spotted, and a Delta Airlines baggage handler safely secured and removed the jailbird from the aircraft as the plane taxied to the runway. That's when a second pigeon passenger was found trying to fly for free.
Ready for this? There's a pigeon on the airplane.
There's a pigeon on the airplane and it won't go away.
Not until we open the door.
That's a first for me. Wow.
I said, well, maybe the pigeons were just tired. You know, they were tired of flying. They wanted someone else to do the flying for them.
So it may surprise you to learn that while it was a pigeon problem, it ended up being a pretty quick fix. Travelers say the plane landed in Madison only an hour behind schedule. Can't say, Sarah, that that's a flight I would necessarily want to take, but it did look like everyone had pretty much a good sense of humor about the whole incident. Stupid, senseless, preventable. The family of Owatonna teenager Olivia Flores is now speaking out about her death in a Rochester crash involving a Minnesota state trooper. Her mother, Stephanie, and father, Carlos, telling me after taking time to process the sudden death of their daughter back in May, they're ready to fight for justice.
She was looking forward to coaching, and she was looking forward to, she's her last practice.
For the parents of 18-year-old Olivia Flores, all that remains of their daughter's life lives in photos and memories.
She fit a lifetime in 18 years because she was fearless and she was fierce and she was steadfast, not stubborn, Dad. Like, I'm not stubborn, Dad. I'm steadfast.
Olivia was killed on May 18th after Minnesota State Trooper Shane Roper's squad car hit her Ford Focus while Roper was driving at excessive speed and without his lights near Apache Drive Southwest in Rochester.
I want him to look at me and say, it was worth going 83 and a 40. Your daughter's life was worth it.
Carlos and Stephanie Flores are demanding accountability for Roper's actions and the overseeing agencies, saying her death didn't have to happen.
100% preventable. To a T. Summed up in a phrase. Preventable, period.
Roper's disciplinary record shows he's been suspended twice for crashing his car and received written reprimands for 2 other incidents.
Why are we having the same issue with the same driver, but we continue to put him in a vehicle and put the public in danger to the point where you've killed somebody?
The parents say law enforcement agencies should have measures in place to check in with officers when they reach certain speeds to protect themselves and other drivers.
If had a supervisor gotten a call or a notification that one of his troopers was going 135 and a 55, we wouldn't be here.
As they fight for justice, just as their daughter would have wanted.
Liv would demand a change. She would be like, why, what, like, if this happened to me, don't let it happen in vain.
They're both living for Liv, one day at a time.
You have a finite time in this planet, so make your mark. Live every second. Like you're not going to wake up tomorrow.
Both amazing parents. I appreciate having time to speak with them. The Flores family says there's a Live for Olivia Facebook page where supporters can share images of themselves traveling, just like Olivia should have been doing right now and the past few months during her gap year. You can caption those photos, Living for Liv. Tonight, the power of Mother Nature on full display and delivered in a package. This homeowner on 2nd Avenue Northwest probably isn't pleased with a pine tree in place of the front door. If you take a look over here to my right, you can see evidence of this pine tree still sticking about 5 feet out of the ground. Homeowners dealing with scenes like this just ahead of the holiday weekend.
I don't know if a tornado touched down or whatever happened, but there's some significant trees down in town.
Casson homeowner Mike Ronigan, seen here zipping around his neighborhood on a golf cart, says he's on the lookout for other homes damaged by Wednesday night's swift but severe storms, despite dealing with his own tree troubles.
I was at a car show in Rochester. Everything was fine. There was no severe weather reported. Wife called, told me there was a tree on the house. I raced home, and yeah, there's a great big tree on my house.
Ronigan says it cost $3,500 to remove that tree from his bedroom early Thursday morning.
Grateful for the people that I know, and Ronigan Roofing came out, got it all patched up.
As Friday marks the 4th of July, friends, family, and neighbors are remaining patriotic while putting their homes back together piece by piece.
I think I've seen a lot of people out helping. I know my husband and son coming back from the pool checked in on a lot of neighbors, but saw a lot of people out last night checking in on people, things like that.
One homeowner I did speak with says he's already paid a $3,500 bill and is expecting additional damage estimates from damage to his bedroom, saying it could cost upwards of $10,000. In Casson, Jessica Bringe, KIMT News 3.